Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for February the 8th, 2011. Now our first position for tonight is going to be in the Forex market, specifically the US Swiss franc currency pair. What we have here is basically, in my opinion, what appears to be a pretty good reversal starting here. Now we've got a buy signal forming from vantage point on the predicted MACD, the predicted true strength indicator, and on several of the crossovers. Now the key level, the 18-day predicted moving average, now comes in at 95.07. I believe that is likely to support the market on any dip in the next 24 hours. So we're going to be looking for any move lower to get into buy positions. Now, specifically what we're looking at here is a very consistent, in my opinion, trade setup. Now, what we can see here is that specifically the medium-term crossover from vantage point is crossed to the upside. We have our predicted short, medium crossovers already moved above the zero line, our long-term following. But the main thing I want to point out is this signal right here, the predicted MACD, the predicted true strength indicator, and the predicted medium-term crossover are all in complete agreement that this is going lower. Now we had almost an identical signal here at this time last month where we can see the same thing happened. The US Swiss franc went from the 93 level all the way up to just about the 98 level, so a nice 500 pip move. So we're going to be looking for a very similar situation here, maybe even a little bit above 98 is what we're going to shoot for, but you know, that's looking out a little bit longer term. For now, what we want to do is make sure we get into this trade. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up the daily report from vantage point. We're going to look at the predicted high and the predicted low for tomorrow. Now, looking at our daily report for tomorrow, we've got the Neural Index up the third day in a row. We've got 95.05 as the predicted low and 96.17 as the predicted high. So for tomorrow, we're going to be looking at getting in about the 95.15, 95.16 area. We don't want to wait right until this 95.05 when we've got a pretty powerful signal like what we have right now with the multiple crossovers from vantage point. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 95.15, about the 95.15 area. More aggressive traders, they could even look at the 95.20, 95.25, and then we're going to be shooting, our first target will be the 96.17 area, and then of course your traders that want to hold this for a little bit longer, I would look towards that 97, 98 level potentially by the end of the week. So we'll see how that one plays out, but for now, that is our first position, and it looks to be a pretty good one setting up. Now remember, Vantage Point does forecast the market. We may have to wait a little patiently here for this one to come back. We may see some further volatility in the markets, but the main thing is we have a pretty clean signal. And if you'll remember, I talked extensively about the pending Swiss franc weakness in the Forex weekly outlook on Sunday. So we're already a couple of days ahead of most of the other indicators and some of the market itself for that matter. So that's our first position. Now our second position for tonight is going to be in the US 10-year notes. Now you'll remember last week that I had talked about this, specifically what I anticipated would happen, the high correlation the 10-year notes have to dollar strength and dollar weakness. What I assumed and what I had talked about last week again would happen is that the 10-year notes would break lower and the dollar would break higher. That's exactly what we see happening here. Much like that US Swiss franc trade, we have the medium term and long term crossover from vantage point crossing over the trigger after a period of consolidation. We have the predicted MACD and the predicted true strength indicator both confirming this position. And again, the short, medium, and long term differences are all pointing down. The short term starting to turn up slightly, but that's okay. The primary trend is in place here. So when we're looking at selling these notes, we're now going to go into the daily report. Now looking at the daily report here from Vantage Point, we can see that we have 118.08 as the low and 119 as the high. So for tomorrow, we have the Neural Index is down again. A little bit of a concern here that we've had the Neural Index down 5 days in a row, but we are definitely in a trending market here. So for tomorrow, we're going to be looking for a retracement back to as close to this 119 area as possible, at which time we're going to use that to set our shorts. So essentially we're selling into strength based on the indicators, the main indicators, the crossover, the predicted MACD, the predicted true strength indicator, the predicted differences. Everything is lining up here. Now, the one thing I want to point out, this trade is highly correlated to that US Swiss franc trade, so we want to be careful about taking both of these. But the main thing is we can identify that we have a nice clean signal here on this chart. Now, it's not often that we get these types of, this one's been in play for, as you can see, 3 or 4 days. This is not a brand new trade, but this did play out pretty much exactly what I had told my clients and what I had done in the webinar last week. And the cool thing about this is we were able to forecast it before the bigger move actually happened. Even though we were in a period of consolidation, I could identify which way this was going to break and which way the US dollar was going to break based on the high correlation that these two have to each other. So those are the market positions for February the 8th, 2011. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.